In the heart of Rajasthan, in a small village where desert dust painted the evenings golden, lived a young man named Arav. His small spice shop was the first to open and the last to close. The air around, it was always thick with the fragrant smells of cardamom, turmeric, and dried chilies, smells he was too busy to ever truly enjoy. From the first ray of sun until the moon cast long shadows, Arav worked tirelessly. With every rupee earned, his only thought was to add it to a heavy, formidable steel trunk he kept locked under his bed. The metallic clink of a coin dropping inside was his only source of joy. He made endless sacrifices. While his friends gathered at the chai stall, laughing over hot, crispy samosas, Arav would be in his shop, mending a torn spice sack. He wore the same faded blue kurta day after day, patching it himself when it tore, his reflection showing a man old before his time. He believed this growing pile of money was his greatest treasure, a fortress that would protect him from the harsh winds of fate. His grandfather Shankar, whom the entire village lovingly called Dada, Ji, would often watch him from the shade of a large banyan tree in their courtyard. Shankar's eyes, wrinkled at the corners, held the deep calm of a desert oasis. He saw the permanent lines of worry etched onto Arav's brow. The boy was so consumed with the act of saving that he had closed himself off from the world. He never took the opportunity to visit the nearby city of Jodhpur, to see its famous blue houses, a dream he once spoke of as a child. He never learned a new skill, nor did he ever just sit with his Dada, Ji, and share stories. His life was becoming as small, dark, and motionless as the coins in his trunk. One festive evening, a traveling puppeteer arrived in the village square. He unfurled a colorful backdrop and brought his wooden puppets to life. To the rhythmic beat of a dholak, a puppet king with a glittering crown and a queen with large, expressive eyes danced and told ancient tales of love and bravery. The entire village was captivated, their faces lit by the warm glow of lanterns and shared joy. After the show, the puppeteer announced he would be staying for a week, offering to teach his beautiful art for a small fee. Arav's heart felt a sharp, unexpected pull. He was mesmerized. The puppets seemed to be telling a story just for him. But the moment he thought of his trunk, the feeling vanished, replaced by a familiar anxiety. Opening it to spend money on something as frivolous as a puppet class felt like a physical wound. It was a difficult choice, but habit was stronger than desire. He turned his back on the music and laughter and walked away, the enchanting story fading behind him. That night, the silence in his small room was deafening. Arav sat beside his steel trunk, tracing its cold, hard edges with his fingers. He had added a few more rupees to it, but he felt a profound emptiness, a hollowness that his treasure could not fill. Shankar entered the room, his footsteps soft, and sat beside him. "You are the hardest worker in this village, my son," Shankar began, his voice a gentle murmur. "You are building a great fortune." Arav nodded, a flicker of pride in his tired eyes. "I am saving for the future, Dadajai, so that I will never have to worry." Shankar placed a comforting hand on his grandson's shoulder. "And that is a noble thought. But let me tell you about my own treasure. I too started with a small box of coins. But I learned a vital lesson early in my life. Money must have a purpose. It should not be a sleeping stone, gathering dust in a box. It must be a flowing river that nourishes everything it touches." Shankar then began to share his own life story, and it was a revelation. He explained that each time he saved a little money, he would ask himself, how can this money grow into something more? He used his very first savings not to buy gold, but to travel to another town and learn how to repair diesel water pumps, a crucial skill in their arid land. It was difficult. Shankar recalled, a distant look in his eyes. "I made mistakes. I once broke a valuable part and had to spend more than I had earned to fix it. But I did not give up. That skill became a source of income, yes, but more importantly, it became a source of pride and service. With the money I earned from that, he continued, I did not simply lock it away. I made another investment in myself. I took a journey to the city of Udaipur. I saw its grand lakes and palaces, and I learned from its people how they managed and conserved water. That experience was more valuable than any coin. When I returned, I used that knowledge to help our village build small check dams. He then pointed a frail finger towards the small, brightly lit building at the end of their lane. And that library, that was my biggest gamble. I used a large portion of my life savings to help build it and fill it with books. My friends called me a fool. Land is forever, they said. Books will turn to dust. Shankar's eyes twinkled with moisture. But yesterday, a little girl who learned to read in that very library wrote a letter for her grandmother to her son in the city. In that moment, I felt like the wealthiest man alive. My money didn't just sit in a box. It grew into knowledge, connection, and hope. It created value. Arav listened, spellbound. Each of his grandfather's words dismantled the fortress he had built around his heart. He looked at his own steel trunk, and for the first time, he saw it for what it was. Not a treasure chest, but a cage. He had trapped his money, and in doing so, he had trapped his own spirit. The profound wisdom in Shankar's words was not about wasting money, but about seeing it as energy, an energy that had to be used to create, to learn, and to connect. The next morning, Arav woke up before the sun. There was a new lightness in his heart, a feeling of excitement that had been absent for years. He walked directly to the puppeteer, his steps firm with resolve, and paid the fee to learn the magical art. On his way back, he stopped at the market and bought himself a new, bright yellow kurta. Wearing it, he felt like he was seeing the world in color for the first time. His transformation had begun. He didn't stop saving, but he changed its purpose entirely. He divided his earnings into different clay pots, each with a label, one for needs, one for his business, one for learning, and a new one simply labeled joy and giving. His life began to blossom. He learned to make the puppets dance, and soon his small, heartfelt shows were a source of delight for the village children. He invested in his shop, buying fresher spices and a beautifully hand-painted cart. His shop was no longer just a place to buy masalas. It became a warm, welcoming space where people shared stories. His money, finally flowing, was making his life and the community around him richer in every sense of the word. So, if you ever find yourself consumed by the need to just save and accumulate, remember Arav's story. Remember the quiet wisdom of his Dada Ji. Money is a powerful tool, an energy given to you.